All right, first and foremost, we give all praises, honor, and glory to the Most High God, Yahweh. We do so in the name of His only begotten Son, who the world calls Christ Yahweh Shai. It's your brother, Chief Priest Alazar, one lawyer, a.k.a. the Gorilla Hebrew.
It's the priest Hassan.
Back at y'all with another tape sessions. Another tape session this Tuesday night. Again, all praise Yahweh Hashem Yahweh Shai. But yeah, man, I just saw a tape. Just was watching it a couple hours ago when it dropped. And I said, damn, we got to go over this. We got to go over this ASAP. You know, without question, this had to be going over. So again, we give all praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh Hashem Yahweh Shai. Yeah, so what's good, everybody? How you feeling? Shalom. See that? See that, Yeshaya? Yeah, man. So just shalom to everybody. So yeah, Yeah, Popeyes is sold out everywhere, Yeshaya. The chicken sandwich is sold out, period. Donald McCover, here's the problem. Soul B and Stack Stone weren't there. So if you pay attention to Soul B and Stack Stone, Stack Stone came home in 96. Right, so you know they had a lot of the older bloods from New York on. We're gonna talk about all this now, but Donald McCurry, he clearly knows. We're gonna talk about all this. But basically, I want to go over this footage. You know, and I've been watching it. And, you know, I wasn't gonna do no teaching on it because I've been watching it. But after the Latin Kings one came out, I said, okay, we need to talk about this. It's a lot to be talked about. You know, for our people who are caught up in or interested in or have, you know, people who they know that's involved in that. Well, Chicago Wholesales is going to talk about it because we got to understand is Bloods is not a part of the People Nation. You had a People Nation organization that went to LA and joined the Blood Alliance. That did happen, but the Bloods are not overall a part of the People Nation. So the Latin Kings explain how the Bloods became affiliated with the People Nation, which is interesting. And all of this plugs into prophecy. It plugs into the Bible, man, on a crazy level, you know. But I didn't get the full understanding now until we hear the Latin King side of the story because I've never heard it. We've always kind of heard just the blood side of the story. So this stuff is crazy, and we're gonna go over this through the Spirit and power of the Most High and go into the Bible because, man, blacks and Latinos, man, we have to wake up. It's a lot of interesting stuff. So I'm gonna go here. I just watched this thing in its entirety. I watched all the ones that the Bloods did. You know, when I'm talking about the Bloods, I'm talking about the New York-based Bloods, which is in truth not at all connected to the California Bloods and started 20 years after the Bloods in California. Okay, just so y'all can understand. Right, so but blacks and Latinos, we need the laws of God. Yeah, see, Huzzah, the Latin King, you got Latin King TENNESSE in the valley. See, so you had a group of Latin Kings that came just the same way you had Black Peace Stones that came to LA. But so the Latin Kings out there, they turned TENNESSE, they turned Southsider. And then you had the BPS, they became Bloods when the Blood Alliance came out. You know, that's just how it worked. And they became disconnected from that of Chicago. No, he's not saying that that's how Latin gangs started in the Valley, but the Latin Kings did go to the Valley. That's why you have Latin Kings 13 in the Valley. They come from Chicago. I've heard that from multiple Southsiders. Right, but they 13, they got down with the Sereno movement, with the Southsider movement. See what I'm saying? Because they had to, because that was politics of that. Donald, partially, so we're going to go into all of it, but partially it was because of the renegade 5%ers. Right? What's going on to the sergeant? Sergeant, I see you. But basically, yeah, T. Rogers from Chicago, he brings the BPS thing, the Mo movement out of Chicago into LA, but when he bring it to LA, it's got a program with the LA politics. So all this got to, you know, it's good for us to, even those of us who don't come from these walks of life, y'all got to understand this as well, because you may encounter the same way we have to, like, you have to understand that our job is to teach our people the truth, call them to repentance, call them to the laws and the faith, and to who they truly are, which is Israelites, which are none of these gang titles. Even though you did have Israelite stones. You had Israelite stones. You had Reubenite stones. Right? But we need to know about this stuff so when we encounter, but you know what I'm saying? Boom. You know, okay, LK13 is in Pasadena. All right, bet. Oh, wait, that's in my wallet. Con. I didn't know that was a pass. But exactly. But I heard different Serenos say that they really came, that particular set came from the Chi to LA, and then they just got, you know what I'm saying? Because that's the politic. So same thing with the BPS. They was, because y'all got to understand, and I don't want to go into this too much because I want to get to this tape, but y'all got to understand, Bloods come 5 years after Crips start, right? And when the Bloods come out, because they're anti-Crip. So it was a coalition of anti-Crips that formulated the Bloods 5 years after Crips came out. So they all come from pre-existing gangs. This is why all the original Blood gangs don't actually have blood in their name. It's an addition. Let's go to the original Blood gangs. Bounty Hunter Watts. That's where the B come from. When they strike up on the wall, it's BHW. That's Bounty Hunter Watts. Why? Because they had a name that pre-exists Blood. Blood is just an alliance they joined. Bounty Hunter Watts. Bishops. 9 dudes bishops. Pueblo Bishops. See what I'm saying? IFG, Inglewood Family Gang. Inglewood Family Gangsters. With the Piru, they had Piru, and Piru joined the Blood Alliance. Right? But it was always, even to this day, they hit up BHW, IFG. See what I'm saying? Right now, they hit that up. Brims. Brims don't got blood on the end. It's something Brim. Van Ness, Brim. Fruitown, Brim. Harvard Park, Brim. You see what I'm saying? Because these are the original Blood gangs that formulated as anti-Crip 5'9" Brims, which left LA and went to San Diego. Right? So they have those names because they were an alliance that formed together. Bloodstone Villains, another good point. The Villains. They already existed, and they didn't get down with the Crip name. So what did they naturally become? They became anti-Crip, because that's the type of line the Crips were pushing throughout LA. They became anti-Crip, and then Piru, just like now, you got such and such Piru. It's not such and such Piru Blood. It's Mob Piru, Ludus Park Piru, Campanella Piru. You see what I'm saying? But then even Denver Lane put the B on it later, but originally it was just DLG, Denver Lane Gang. It was the gangs that came after the formulation that really start having to be such and such Bloods. You see what I'm saying? That's who really start putting the blood on it. You see what I'm saying? But originally it was just an alliance. The same thing Crenshaw Mafia is later. But they was Crenshaw Mafia gang. But they came after the formulation of the alliance. In the bottoms over there in Inglewood. But that's the whole thing. So in Chicago, you had two alliances, which you had the Folk Alliance and you had the People Alliance. You see what I'm saying? So that's how all this stuff happened. But what happened in New York happened much later. The Bloods came out in New York damn near 20 years after they came out in LA. The Latin Kings came out in New York damn near 20 years after they came out in Chicago. Exactly, Daniel. Very true. So, but some either got on to one bandwagon or another. But especially with the Blood, it was just an alliance of those pre-existing gangs, and then other gangs were birthed out of them. Crips, they were just going around turning everybody Crip. But there were gangs that, you know, kind of got absorbed into that and kind of changed their name and their identification. So the Bloods came out in like 93 in New York. They came out in 74 as known in the Bloods. They was pre-existing gangs, but being known as the Bloods was about 74, 75 in LA. Mid-60s when the Latin Kings come out. They don't come out in New York until 86. This is important to understand because once just hearing these stories now from individuals who was in and around it, it puts a whole new perspective on things. And everything is so biblical, man. This Bible is so real, and we as Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians are so much these people. We are so these people. We are so this Bible. We are the proof that this Bible is real. Us. These stories. That's how I was inspired through the spirit and power of Yahweh B'Shem Yahushua to do this tape session. Like, so we're going to deal with something else. But we'll probably deal with that tomorrow. Situation Room with our brother, my esteemed colleague, Deacon Akago Yum. But this right here, this is heat. And we're going to talk about it. Right? We're going to talk about it. So this is via the, y'all can see it right on, but this is via the Quiet Room YouTube channel. I suggest everybody subscribe. A lot of good stuff on there. Had a lot of a lot of interesting interviews. Dudes who my age, especially if you was into the Smack DVD era, a lot of guys that were in and around that era in the New York scene as far as music have been interviewed on here. So I suggest people check it out because a lot of individuals that I remember and I was a huge fan of back in that time who kind of fizzled out and disappeared, they were able to tell their stories right here on Flip the Script. It's the 100-second episode. So check this out. So the Quiet Room YouTube is Flip the Script, episode 102. Very entertaining brothers. You know, Queens brothers, and you know, it's good. Right, it started in 93 in Rikers Island, and one of the brothers who was in this interview was right there when it started, was actually there. Well, yeah, you down on cover, you had them gangs, but those all fizzled out. The Slauson, the businessman, all that fizzled out. You know what I mean? The Crips took over, and the ones that remained had to get down with the Blood. Dang, that was the only. Yeah, hey, look, in the 60s in Chicago, you know you can still get some of them, you know, replicas of them gang sweaters. I ain't gonna lie. Them gang sweaters they had in Chicago, ain't nothing messing with that, period. That's some of the hottest stuff you ever did seen. Them cardigans, the nigga, the Latin King cardigan. Imperial Gangster cardigan. You feel me? That stuff is crazy. Matter of fact, hold on. People don't even know about that. I want to show them real quick. Look at that war. Imagine that coming out of block. Nigga, Warlord's cardigan. Simon City Road. These are white people. The gents. Was white. Look at the Cobras one. What's this? Look at these things. Imagine this is the Edomite gang. The Gaylord. Literally, this is the Edomite gang. Look at the Ku Klux Klan members. Look at this. Look, and it's got, see the Puerto Rican stones. See that? Ephraim and Judah. See, but this is going to be a story about Ephraim and Judah, y'all. And not just Ephraim and Judah, northern kingdom and southern kingdom. Feel me? Here in Babylon. The popes. What that mean, y'all? What y'all mean criminal enterprise, nigga? Child molestation? Salakia. Chris Wiggins, you're exactly right. You know, you're exactly right. But let's get into this, man, because this is an important story. This is an Ephraimite brother and a Simeonite brother. All right.
You first joined the Latin Kings. Good stuff.
And y'all gotta understand. I hope the Spirit is with me as I elaborate on this, because this ties into a lot, and it's gonna help you to understand certain things that even, you know, went on with One West.
It's time.
1986, man.
1986.
That's a good year, man.
You were born that year. Get out of here. What happened? How did you join the, what happened?
Well, my story is a very peculiar story because I'm Dominican.
Okay.
And very rarely did you see at that time, a Dominican joining what they call a Puerto Rican gang.
This is important to note because the Latin Kings, especially in New York, were vast majority predominantly Puerto Rican. Even now you have like Dominicans really don't be getting down. I mean, not saying there's none, but they got their own the Trinitarios, they call it. So they get down with that, or they got another thing called DDP. Dominicans don't play. Those New York based Dominican gangs that they alienate. They don't like Ephraim. They don't like the Puerto Rican by and large.
Actually, it was not even the original founder of the Latin Kings in Chicago was actually a Chicano.
So the guy who founded Latin Kings was Mexican. That's what he's a Chicano, was an American-born Mexican, which is interesting. Which I didn't know prior to him saying that. But of course in New York has more Puerto Ricans than Puerto Rico has. And I'm not just saying that. They're called New Yorkers. They call them. So, it was overrun by Puerto Ricans.
And King Blood is Cuban.
Also didn't know that, right? For those of y'all who don't know, King Blood they call him like he's like the originator of the nigga who brought. That's crazy, the guy. He's the nigga that brought the Latin Kings to New York, as you're gonna see. So I didn't know he was Cuban or a Manassite.
So when we were up top, we have beef with the 5%ers.
So I'm gonna just make sure we're gonna do this for. We're gonna put everything in real simple language. When he said up top, that means they were in one of the various correctional facilities in upstate New York. That's what that means. I believe they were in Collins. I think that's the one they was in.
5%ers were, they were oppressing a lot of the Latino brothers.
So this is 86. So when you hear the perspective from the guys who started the Bloods in 93, they're going to say that the Latin Kings were oppressing the blacks, right? But we're going now 7 years earlier, and we're seeing that the formulation of Latin Kings came out of being oppressed by the blacks. See that? So this is, give me Vex, Isaiah 11, please. This happens, right? But what happens is Judah, I'm gonna call y'all out, because this is really about Judah, as y'all are gonna see. Judah be playing victim sometimes, okay? And I'm just gonna be real. Judah be playing victim sometimes. Judah will throw a rock and hide their damn hand sometimes, and that's just real. Judah, we love you, but Judah will throw a rock and hide their hand. So watch this. Get that scripture first.
Isaiah chapter 11, verse 13. The envy also of Ephraim shall depart, and the adversaries of Judah shall be cut off. Ephraim shall not envy Judah, and Judah shall not vex Ephraim.
That's right. Ephraim shall not envy Judah, and Judah shall not vex Ephraim, right? So this is what we see one vexing and one envying. So one acts out of vexation and one acts out of envy, right? So we have Judah, starting with Judah, but it also protrudes to the whole southern kingdom. But Judah is the personification of it. You said on 5th and Lake Street. Yeah, just note that Tazapanya, 5th and Lake Street. All right, because you know we got our Chicago camp. They all around the town. I can't even put a location on. They all around the town, putting work in through the spirit and power of Yahweh Hashem Yahushua. So what happens is this: Judah just be vexing people. It's just what they do. You come from another country, they make fun of you. You know, it is what it is. Yeah, but what's ill, Chief Ephraim, is they gonna touch on some interesting things on how they was letting Benjamin and Levi get down. They just wasn't letting Judah get down, which is interesting. But we're gonna tie it all in the spirit. But you know, and as a result of Judah's dominance, as a result of, you know, things of that nature, other tribes, starting with the north, act out of envy. You see what I'm saying? Retaliate out of envy and out of being vexed. You see what I'm saying? So this is what happens. Right? It's a Judite rapper, a big Judite rapper out of Chicago that's a Latin king. But he's a Judite. His name is 360 Pooh, and he's hard. He got bars, serious, actual bars. So shout out to him. You know, so, but it's an interesting dynamic. But then, you know what sometimes happens is Judah be playing victim sometimes, instead of owning up to, we all have done each other wrong. We all need to stop doing this. We all need to repent. My fault for doing what we did to y'all. They say they're bad for doing what they did to them. Because if we look at the root of a lot of this stuff, you know, it goes both ways. The only time people portray it one way is when it's a narrative push. Like, even I'm Haitian. We can complain about Dominicans treat us bad, right? And we can do that now because a lot of y'all don't know history. So I can play victim all day about Dominicans, all I want. But the fact is, if you actually do your history, we were oppressing the hell out of the tribe of Simeon, the so-called Dominican, before the Trinitarios came in and liberated them. What we were doing to them allowed the white man to come and act like a fake white savior and a great white hope to them and indoctrinate them with the ideology of anti-Haitianism. Right? Well, he's getting ready to say the blacks were oppressive. Is what he's getting ready to say. That renegade 5%ers were oppressing them, which led to a war with all 5%ers, because even though they all weren't participating, the ones who were not participating were just allowing it. They weren't doing anything about it. They weren't keeping them in check. And 5% is supposed to be about something better than that, right? But yeah, so we can play victim to the Dominicans all we want, but the fact is, when we liberated that island, we were doing things to Dominicans. Feel me? Period. We were. It's just what happened. So instead of blame gaming one tribe or one demographic, all we got to do is simple. All repent. All put the past behind us, and all trudge forward into the future through the spirit and power of Yahweh Hashem Yahushua. And guess what? That's what brothers who are coming to this truth are doing. And that's the point of this, the propagation of this. It's just that. Encourage all the 12 tribes of Israel, Black, Hispanic, and Native Indian, to put things behind us and move forward. Because we have a common enemy that has done more to us than we can ever do to each other. And he's still working overtime to do to us what he's been doing to us for half a millennia. To Chief Ephraim, see, we could take it back to the Bible. We could take it back to Scripture. See what I'm saying? Judah was punking Issachar on the West Coast, which is why there was a conflict and hatred between. Well, that was happening, but all Crips and Serranos do not have issues. More Crips and Serranos coexist than don't. Right? But that's why I'm getting ready to show this. I got Issachar right here from Hangout Boys. And they have issues with a lot of Judite hoods in their area, the faux trays, etc. And there's a reason for that. And he's going to talk about it.
Shaggy. I grew up, and the only ones that I remember that were there when we got there were the black gangs, which was the Five Dudes Broadways and the 43rd place for the world, I think.
So when he moved to LA, it was only black gangs in the particular neighborhood that he was at. There was not no Mexican gangs, right?
Used to get called. They used to rob us for our parents used to send us to.
Listen, you see the Most High? I clicked on this randomly and it's right what I was looking for. All praise to the Most High.
Market go buy milk and the 43rd place or third world, I think they
Which is full truck gangster.
get called. They used to rob us for our parents used to send us to the market to go buy milk and eggs and stuff like that. We used to come back beat up with no money, no groceries.
So they're fresh in the country. Judah, the so-called American black man, is beating them up and robbing them. Beating them up and robbing them on the way to the store. After this happens over and over for a certain period of time, what is the logical reaction? Salakia, I got it loud as I can get it. He's talking kind of quiet. You see, he's the brother sick. You see what I'm saying? But this is what's happening when he go into the store, right? I'm gonna tell you who else Judah did this to. Judah did this to Benjamin. Judah did this to Levi. Judah be doing this to every damn body, man. Judah do it to Judah. You see what I'm saying? If you're different, Judah got that pack up and vex a nigga, bully a nigga, make fun of a nigga mentality. Like you said, to be fair, Judah robs everybody. You're right. And that's what I'm saying. Now, that don't justify anything, but this is just what happens. This is just the cycle. Look at Donald. So this guy's just making it up that he got robbed going to the store. It's okay. Watch this. Watch this. He's making it up. Fine. I'm going to now go get Judah, who's from the exact same neighborhood he is, corroborating this story. Don't worry about it. I was going to do it anyway. For the naysayers and the gainsayers who are narrative pushers. Judah is the Debo of the tribes. Judah is the top tribe, and that's why Judah vexes. We understand Judah, right? We ain't tripping with, but we know Judah. But Judah got to stop doing certain things, just in general. So, where I'm at, let's go. Big up to brother Kev Mack, man. Got a great channel. And then I advise everyone to check out right here.
There was some Mexicans lived over there, but it was never no racial issue. We'll get into it when they used to have the dances at the school, the Edison dances. We would get into it, but it never led to nothing else. But at that time, it was over.
So you grew up once again with Mexicans.
Yeah, I grew up with Mexicans. Yeah.
And so, all right, now back to the county jails, criminology. Did you end up going to prison?
Yeah, I went to jail for that night. Beating up the white dudes. And you would have...
Watch this.
Politics changed from when you left the module or did your violation and came back in 92.
It changed a lot, but that particular day, when that Rodney King uprising, when I was in the county, in Wayside, as a matter of fact.
Watch what happened in Wayside. This is cold. And let me tell y'all something. Give me Zechariah 9 and 13. Give me Zechariah 9 and 13. Hold it, because he's gonna talk about what happened in Wayside. Yeah, you man, Amon Wally, you already know. Test the knockout on Issachar. We just finna see where our hands is at on Issachar. Nigga, we used to stay doing that, man. Are you kidding me? But watch this. This is something that happened in Wayside. For the Wayside is like a jail in the LA County area. Something happened in Wayside that I'm gonna tell you. You don't hear this testimony, bro, gonna give, and it's a preview of what is getting ready to happen, thus saith the Lord God. Watch this.
The blacks and the Mexicans was together for maybe 2 days, beating up the white dudes. And you would have, these dudes were so afraid of their lives. You know, if you ever been to south, you know, they got the barbed wire gates. And the white dudes was able to climb that. That's how much adrenaline was flowing. They was hanging on the gate because you couldn't get them.
You had white boys jumping and scaling 20-foot tall barbed wire fences out of fear of Judah and Issachar coming together. You hear that? They were so afraid. You ever seen a white boy scale a goddamn fence? I've never seen it. But that day, these brothers saw it. Because Judah and Issachar said, you know what, Esau? We've had enough.
Everything that wasn't black or Mexican was getting it.
So not just Esau, basically all the other nations, the Asian came through, he's getting it. You see that? Everything that's not black and Mexican was getting it. And they had them jumping barbed wire gates to escape the wrath of the children of Israel. This is what I want you to know. That 48 hours in Wayside, God damn it, that's coming to a city near you. Thus saith the Lord. Understand that. Thus saith the Lord is coming to a town near you. That's right, soldier Yeshaya. Go ahead.
Zechariah 9:13. When I've bent Judah for me, fill the bow with Ephraim, and raise up thy sons, O Zion, against thy sons, O Greece.
You see that? He gonna see, and who was the bow in that situation? It was Judah and Rodney King. And then they filled the bow with Ephraim, and they got together and they chased. They gave chase to every non-Israelite. He said everything that wasn't black or Mexican. Got it. That's amazing. We give all praise to Yahweh Shem Yahushai. And I want to see that on a higher level. He said, East Max and Medium North and Medium South is where it went down. Right? You hear that right there? That's crazy. Sakalo.
And that's how it was at that time. Okay. Fuck you. That whole shit.
Regular
Yeah.
Was there a lot of tension going on, prior to, going through classification?
Just like when you went to 9500, it was the big.
I'm trying to find a part where he basically says that he was beating up and robbing Paisas, which Paisa mean, a Mexican that's from the country of Mexico and is like a new recent immigrant.
It was about the money bags.
Or roll it up and there's probably about maybe spades. It wasn't no bunk. A little different. That's why motherfuckers take stealing so serious in there. To actually get it cracking.
So the rumor was that there was a large amount of.
Watch this.
Them joints to actually get. When it happened, it wasn't nothing going on. I think it was some call from up in one of them joints to actually get it cracking.
What he's talking about get it cracking is the beef between the East Coasters and the F-13s, which is probably the largest black and Mexican conflict that exists in LA. Because F-13 and the East Coasters are two of the biggest respective gangs.
So the rumor was that there was a large amount of drugs.
Yeah.
The East Coast Crips robbed the F. So this is what happened. So, and this is what got to be understood. The media will have you believing that Florencia 13 just doesn't like black people. So they're at war with the East Coast Crips. But no. The East Coast Crips robbed Florencia 13 for a substantial amount of dope. And that's what started this thing. Right? It's cold because is your Tab still in here? Let me see if your Tab is still here. Yeah, oh yeah. See that, but the 18 is not. The 18 is beefing with all Bloods. 18 is going against all Bloods right now. A few Crips, but 18 is going against all Bloods. See, but 18 got a lot of black allies though, you know. But as quiet as it's kept, F-13 got a lot of Blood allies. See what I'm saying? But you know, and that's why y'all gotta go check out that Deacon Black and Brown song out, one of the most beautiful songs ever made. All praise Yahweh Shemel Shah. But the brother Sergeant Yatab is in the building, and he met a brother from Florencia 13 who said, man, the media paint us like we don't like blacks, but I got all kind of homies from Brim, all kind of homies from Swan. I just don't like East Coasters. You know what I'm saying? Man, you crazy. F-13s, we function with Swans and Brims. And that's just a fact. And F-13 barely even act. Man, you see an F-13, them niggas saying nigga more than you. Calling each other blood flamed out. I'm telling you.
There's a lot.
Yeah, from what that was the rumor as well. From what I heard.
Kilos.
I'm telling you, I'm off a guy. To the brother Chief Ephraim, exactly. It's all drugs is Esau's secret weapon. And when we're going to go into it with this Latin King thing, it's about cigarettes and dope. That's it. We ain't got no business using dope, selling dope, or smoking cigarettes in the first place. So all this goes back to, if we followed the laws, none of this would happen, man. None of it. If we did what the Most High told us to do, we wouldn't be here. We would be in our rightful position as the rulers of this earth. And that is the urgent message. That is the urgent message to all so-called blacks and Hispanics. Right?
Yeah.
And you don't think that have nothing to do with the war between F-13 and East Coast?
Oh yeah, that's the number one. That was one of the main one reason.
First here, the 6'9" assassin.
But yeah, it wasn't really, you know, because opposed to just being a race, because to have that, to listen to that, and you can hear him say nigga, and you know that. Listen to Tupac and Snoop Dogg. I don't think it was racial at the time. It was just more of, you know, East Coast against Florida. And
I mean, who are we going to listen to? The white man on the media or the guy that's in the heart of this war? OG Dino, East Side, Six Dudes, Neighborhood, East Coast, Crip. Again, big up to Kevman. Y'all make sure y'all subscribe to Kevman video. Get a lot of this history from what was going on in the LA area to get a good understanding. Because it's a part of the overall story of us on this side.
something that we created, and due to, you know, people say, oh, 5-9 got their hood to First Street, got their hood to that. I just, you know, I want.
No, I just fucking with you. I'm fucking with you.
It made a big difference, man.
So the money was a blessing and a curse.
See, people thrive when your group is thicker. You know, more people. You know, oh, I don't like them either. I don't like them either. So, but they was looking at, let's just pop these dudes because we deeper. We riding with the Florences, or we ride with such and such, and so they click up. And you know, back in the day, it didn't matter. You know, when you was cripping, you know, it was about the color of the ride. You know, you 85 and 88, somewhere in that area. But with the rest of the Avalons,
Why does East Coast claim East Side, the ones on Broadway?
Because I mean, you know, you have.
There's a key part I'm trying to find, man, but it's real small.
As one Crip gang, like you from 60s, but your crew is, you got a crew over here, crew over here, crew over here, crew over here, and then this crew don't like this crew. But we from the same neighborhood, you know, because he making more money or...
Never occurred to you that we was fighting over a neighborhood that we didn't own?
But that was, you know, that came later in the time, you know, so people start moving, and there was only a few left.
I'm trying to see. Hold on.
And what's the trip about that? I talked to my analysts, you know, and
You carry yourself well.
yeah.
I think it might be in the last part. My fault, y'all. If I can't find it, I'm gonna go to my next clip. What's up, part 4? Damn. It might be here at the end of part 4.
From Camp Kilpatrick, from juvenile hall, Camp Kilpatrick. More it's a little too late. But if you do some shit that you know, we was distinguished. Crip, the way you see the paperwork, or he's the homies that's up there, man.
What about your St. Pedro side home?
That's what somebody else said. Somebody else.
History on Kelmac videos. What you think about that?
And it got me for the fact is like growing up and to claim that and your goofy ass running around here claiming blood and don't know the history. That's one of the things that get me. Yeah.
Man, Hassan, can you do me a favor?
Sure.
Go over these real quick and try to find it for me when he talking about bullying on the Damascus. Biblical shot. I just want to get. I need to bring this out, but we're gonna get to the Latin King because that's what this is about. Salakit. I've been trying to find this problem, but the white man uses drugs and create and the Ephraimite brothers, the Latin King brothers are gonna go into, or the Ephraim and Simeon, they're gonna go into it. They're gonna go into it because they're gonna go into the role that the COs played in the conflicts. Correctional officers played a huge role in these conflicts, man.
And, you know, the gangs wasn't, you know, the Latinos was not united that much at that time. And King Blood, you know, he got together with a couple of us and we spoke, we sat down, we said, what the hell, we put it together. And we started out with 10. There are 8 of us who are, from the original 10, there are 8 of us who are alive. 2, we just lost 2 of them. May they rest in peace. And we were few, man. We wasn't thousands by the thousands, man. We were few and we held it down. We, you know.
So okay. So King Blood started the Latin Kings.
In New York City.
New York City.
In New York
New York
City.
State.
New York State.
So Latin Kings was already
Established in Chicago.
The history of the Latin Kings, they became as a political movement when
The Simeonite brother here, the one in the black shirt. Brother's very, very intellectual, man. As y'all will see as the footage progresses.
Pedro Albizu Campos was trying to run for office in Chicago, and he was looking for the support of the Latinos. And the Latin Kings back then in Chicago, they were with the mindset of, you know, revolutionizing an entire world. You know, they were down with the political movement.
Which really came out of the first organization, which was the Young Lords, which was birthed actually out of the Vice Lords. Which, if y'all watch the video, let me see. So, like, y'all know how these tape sessions go. I'm going to stop it every damn 5 seconds and add on. That's the point of this. That's what makes this original as opposed to us just watching somebody else's stuff. Where is it at? Right here, this video right here, right? Right, so discussing parallels between Chicago gang and Israelite history. The brothers from the Chi elaborate on the Young Lords, which was a Puerto Rican movement being birthed out of the Vice Lords and then later evolving into the Latin Kings. Right, brother right here, Mikhail, big shout out Mikhail, Hebrews in the Hood, Walls of Jericho, elaborates on that. So y'all check this video out when you get a chance. But let's keep going.
And that's how they started over there. Fast forward several years later, decades later, if you will, here in New York, King Blood saw the oppression of the Latinos. And he saw and spoke to a few of us that, and
also you got to understand, part of the reason the COs is so against Judah is because there's a natural fear of the top tribe as well. That be happening as well.
eyes or in his mind, you know, Said these dudes are thorough. We sat down, we had a conversation, and we said, yeah, let's do it. We're not going to accept this. We're definitely not going to accept this.
So who gave King Blood the
Permission? Nobody.
Whoa.
In fact, if I remember correctly, when we first started coming up, the brothers from the motherland, we called it Chicago. They came out here. They came out here deep. Mm-hmm. They came out here deep, and they stepped to us. They stepped to us. They wasn't coming here to play. And let me tell you something. Chicago's a different monster. For those who know what Chicago really was back in the days, and still is a different monster. So they came and we sat down and we met at a neutral ground. One thing that they respected, that we never backed down, and we recognized that we were wrong. King Blood recognized that he didn't have permission, and it was one of his brothers actually. His brother was one of the original from the motherland, and came with the concept of Latin kings here, and gave it to Blood, and Blood went forth. And when we sat down with the brothers and sisters, they gave us the green light.
Y'all sat down in prison or outside?
No, outside. They came outside.
Yeah, that's different. Blood came from Chicago. He was a Pee-wee in Chicago.
Mm-hmm.
So he didn't Pee-wees are young. He was like 13, 14, whatever. He was young in Chicago running the streets. So when he came to New York, he didn't really have the knowledge, understanding what was going on with the nation.
And y'all got to remember that. Remember that he said that there, because this is going to come into play in a second. So you got a dude who is initiated into a gang and he's 13, 14, and he moves somewhere else. So and when you deal with Chicago-based gangs, be it Latin Kings, Vice Lords, GDs, there's literature that they have to follow, lessons, knowledge, etc. It's not like Crips and Bloods. So in understanding that, 13, 14, you probably 9 times out of 10, you don't even have none of this information. So he's starting it on the bare essential information, street soldier, foot soldier level information that he had. He begins this in the New York correctional system. Right? So remember that, because it's going to be revisited later.
Had the concept of, he was a younger. So when he started in prison, he didn't have permission to start. He didn't have permission to start when he started it.
So he just sat at the table. So because what were y'all going through in the prison system? Because we hear the stories of oppression, but then I heard that you guys were being. Recently, I heard that you guys were being.
We oppressed who?
Oppressed as well.
Oppressed
No,
too.
but who are they saying that we oppressed?
They're
Predators?
saying that they're saying that they said that the Bloods were outnumbered. Well, the warden. Okay.
You got to go before that. Let's
go
you go
before
to
that.
let's go to the story before the Bloods.
Yeah.
Tell me.
Let's go to the story, because the real beef was the 5%ers.
We started a beef.
You had two different kind of 5%ers. You got regular 5%ers, and you had the renegade 5%ers. You got 5%ers that would teach and build, and try to bring you knowledge, understanding. They try to bring you to 120s.
So basically, they said they was in jail, and you have 5%ers that was building with the Latin brothers, teaching them, etc. Right? What Judah should be doing, trying to give positivity to the Latin tribes, right?
Try to teach you that.
Absolutely.
Then you had the renegade ones that was like, yo, something got to change.
Basically, they was 5%. They knew their little stuff, but really they was just on some gangster stuff and on some bully stuff, on some vex stuff, right? Go ahead.
Yo, so we're going to go get some. Yo, some got sneakers. Some got this.
You see what I'm saying? And this is, again, why the Bible is so important. Because you got our people who will go, man, come on, we all know right from wrong. Right? We all know right from wrong. All right. Well, then why is he talking about niggas is robbing them? Right? So we all must not know right from wrong. So Exodus 20 and 15, thou shalt not steal. 10 Commandment. This is why we need this. Really, they came with the 5% literature and the Latin king. Really, all you need is the Bible. This is the end all be all and a solution for everything, right? Watch this. 1 Timothy. Y'all know my favorite. 1 Timothy 1. and 9, and it reads, knowing this, the laws of God, the Taberah, the Torah, that the law is not made for a righteous man, but for the lawless and disobedient, for the ungodly and for sinners, for unholy and profane, for murderers of fathers and murderers of mothers, for manslayers, for whoremongers, for them that defile themselves with mankind, for men stealers, for liars, for perjured persons, and for if there be any other thing to be contrary to sound doctrine. See what I'm saying? This is what they need. This is what you really need. All that other stuff, Nation Israel, all this stuff is just, it was good for right then, but ultimately, the goal is to get back to the scriptures and understand the scriptures properly, not from the lens of white supremacist Christianity, but the true lens of this scripture, which is about the empowerment and the upliftment of Black, Hispanic, and Native Indian as being the true children of God. That's what it's all about. Feel me? That's what it's all about.
So now you got to understand who was the target. The minority. We was the minority at the time.
Basically, here they come in the minority, same thing like we seen with the Hop Out Boys.
They used to rob us for our black gangs, which was the Fight Those Broadways and 43rd place, or Third World, I think they used to get called. They used to rob us for our parents used to send us to the market to go buy milk and eggs and stuff like that. We used to come back beat up with no money, no groceries. The blacks outpopulated the Mexicans by far.
So hey, like he said, the minority was becoming a victim. It's what happens.
Latinos.
Well, I mean, even now, let's take a look at the country as a whole. The minorities are what? The victims. The minorities are what? The oppressed. So it really goes back to Esau, the white man, putting that spirit on us to oppress the minority. So even we do it. Then when Haitians come to Miami, they're oppressing the Haitian. You see what I'm saying? Puerto Ricans come to the jail, they're oppressing the Puerto Rican. You see what I'm saying? Mexican boy comes to the neighborhood, we oppressing the Mexican. But then once the tables turn, the oppression turns. Because this is what we're begetting amongst each other. But we've learned all of it from the slave master. So let's go here, matter of fact. Let's go to the book of John. You found it? What's the what minute, what video?
11:50
Part 2. All praise you. How about you, Master? See, when you put Officer Assad on the case, you better understand that the job is typically going to get done. Typically. You said at what time?
11:50.
Real quick, read for me.
I hope it's that.
Read for me John 8:44.
John chapter 8 verse 44.
Because this is what happens when you start oppressing the minority of your own people. This is what you're doing, so you can understand. This is why we need the Bible so desperately as Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians. We don't need to keep going to church. We need the actual Bible. That's what we need. Read.
John 8:44.
Uh-huh.
You're of your father the devil.
That's who you are, because you are following the devil. You are following the Edomite. You are following the oppressor. You are following the white man that has showed you oppress the minority. Read.
And the lust of your father you will do.
And that's who we're following when we oppress each other, man. Give me that oppress not to. Right? In the law that tells us not to oppress one another, man. I give all praise Yahweh Hashem Yahushua for leading us to this marvelous light, man. This Bible is the marvelous light for us. You have to understand that. It is evidently clear at this point. If it's never been clear. This is the marvelous light, man. This is literally the fix to the problems amongst our people, man. Go ahead.
Leviticus 25:17. Ye shall not therefore oppress one another.
See that? Right there in the Bible. Do not oppress each other. So when the Puerto Rican come to the jail, the 5%er should not oppress him. Once the Latin King numbers swell and the issues start with the blood, you shouldn't oppress the bloods. Then when the blood numbers swell and they start back oppressing the Latin King, they shouldn't oppress the Latin Kings. We should all understand that we're all one, covered in the blood of Yahweh Shai. We are all kings. All right? And the 5% nation known as the nation of God on earth, and we are all gods, damn it. Here we are calling ourselves one thing or the other thing when we're all of those things. We're all disciples. We're all Crips. Where's the word Crip mean hidden? We're all the hidden ones that have been consulted against pursuant to Psalms 83. I'm about to do my gang speech, man. Let me chill out, man. Let me chill the hell out. And okay, boom, 11:50.
11:50 to like 12 to 12:06.
All right.
In our beds, it wasn't no bunk beds during that time.
And who was getting a money taken?
Just mostly white dudes. White dudes that come in there, and some Pisces, they were, they was getting their money too.
See, the robbing Pisces. See that?
But you gotta understand too.
That wasn't it.
This is a good one, and I forgot about this one. There's another one. It talks about them robbing the little Mexican. Just what he's talking about. What he's so try to find. That's another good. That's good though. But let's keep going here.
So you being in prison, you guys remember before you that the Spanish were you guys being picked on? Like what was
Absolutely, we were being picked on.
Not everybody. But I'm gonna break it down. Listen, let me break it down the best way. When we was first coming to prisons, the biggest blocks that was holding everything down was the Jamaicans. The Jamaicans had, because remember back in the days in the 80s.
And this is key to the story, because this is why in the beginning and over the course of the thing, I've kind of been amplifying Judah, because as he's going to go on to say, Benjamin, the Jamaicans were not oppressing them. It was Judah.
Remember all these movies and everything?
Steve,
all the Jamaicans used to go to jail and there'd be like 1,000 Jamaicans. Boom, 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 all this crazy stuff. Everybody from the spots. They was
boom, bye, bye.
Listen, I'm just keeping it on it, baby.
Don't make sound effects.
Bro, I'm gonna start hitting the wall. Blood clots.
Yeah, the Jamaicans, big things are going on in the city.
Yard boy, Yankee man. But the Jamaicans had things. I'm not even gonna lie. They was really the big thing besides the 5%ers. The Muslims, I'm not even gonna consider them. Part of it, the Muslims do what they do. But gangs, what they consider gangs, the 5%ers and the Jamaicans.
What was the Jamaicans gang?
Particularly the smokes.
The smokes.
The smokes.
They used to throw something or some whatever, like if they were smoking weed or whatever, it was called the smokes.
And they were deep.
Oh yeah, they were deep.
The Jamaicans were deep.
They were deep.
And
they was putting that work in.
The Jamaicans were deep. And you messed with one, you was fighting all of them.
You was fighting the whole tribe, man.
All of them.
They didn't play that.
Benjamin Shalravin is a wolf, man. Let me get that real quick. I'm hitting all the scriptures. All praise Yahweh Shem Shah. For the record, the so-called Jamaican is from the tribe of Benjamin, along with the other West Indians that are all the other Commonwealth and Dutch West Indian brothers, not Franco West Indian brothers. All right, meaning not Haitians and people from Guadeloupe and Martinique and French Guyana and things of that nature, but the Guyanese, the Jamaican, the Trinidadian of Negroid descent, that's the tribe of Benjamin. And what's crazy is he's going to speak to that as well. So it's all through the spirit, man. That's why I really love this video. It was inspired to go into it. But let's get this about Benjamin. In Genesis 49. What verse for Benjamin? Genesis 49. What the hell is Benjamin's verse at? Oh, 27. Benjamin shall raven as a wolf in the morning. He shall devour the prey, and at night he shall divide the spoil. They was wilding out. They was putting that work in. Benjamin ravening as a wolf.
The same mentality that Latins have. They family oriented.
They have the same mentality. See, the tribes that aren't from Babylon have a certain mentality. Those of us that is coming from the islands, Central and South America, we have a different mentality than Judah that's came up in Babylon, has came up in the neck of his enemy. So you can understand.
Yard, somehow, bro, you messed with one, it was like forming Voltron. That was the original beef on Rikers Island after it transformed from the 5%ers, because the 5%ers started losing the momentum. And Rikers at the time in the early 90s, it was the Jamaicans. It was the Jamaicans. The Jamaicans were strong. The Jamaicans were strong.
So that's what
West Indians, Jamaicans.
You had to respect them, man.
See, like he said, West Indians, right? Ain't that what's on the sign? West Indians, right? West Indians, Jamaicans, watch this.
You have to respect them. They had the mentality, man. And the Trinidadians, the Guyanese, all of them came under the Jamaicans.
See that? The tribe of Benjamin. They united up in that jail. See that?
And they was powerful, man. They was powerful. They were deep.
That's what made you guys read the Latin Kings in New York.
No.
No. The one that started because of that was the war with the 5%ers.
But okay, but let's go back what you said. So the Jamaicans now. But what made, in your opinion, you can't speak for the Smokes, but what made the Jamaicans? Were the Jamaicans picking on you guys?
It wasn't a picking.
See that? Benjamin wasn't picking with, mind you though, y'all got to remember, Benjamin and Joseph, they think it's thieves, pursuant to the Bible. Joseph, birthed the Puerto Rican and the Cuban. Benjamin is, the Jamaicans, Guyanese, Trinidadian, Bayesian, Bahamian, etc. Grenadian. They got the same mama. They got that bond. See what I'm saying? So it's no coincidence that it was like that.
They just dominated. All right, let's put it like this. If you hit HDM has, was it 80 people? 80 cells? 3 phones? 80 people, 3 phones. You think everybody's getting on that phone?
I would assume so. They would.
You would assume that 80 people gonna get on that horn.
They're supposed to.
We're not talking about supposed to. We're talking about reality of it. So the biggest problems in jail was the jacks. You pick up that phone, it was like.
And again, this is Esau, the so-called white man who built that damn jail. Bring that, yeah, Deacon. I need that on the song, and fast. But Esau is so cold, he got 80 people. 80 people, again, 80 people with only 3 phones. That is going to start a problem. To know that 80 niggas got to share 3 phones. This is what they do to us. They put us in positions where conflicts are going to happen. They're going to happen. There's no avoiding it. 80 niggas getting on 3 phones. Imagine that. I barely want to let anybody make a call on my phone. Period. Let alone imagine 80 niggas making 1 phone. I remember when I was in jail, we had 3 phones. Exactly like the sister said, while they watch. Blacks, we had 3 phones. And sometimes that was a problem. You waiting like, man, this thing don't hurry up and get off the phone, man. And that's when where I was sectioned off at, it was 16 blacks with 3 phones. We had 3 phones for 16 niggas, and that was a problem sometimes. Imagine 80. And see, in California, that race politic is a little bit different in New York at that time. But it's that race politic. So it's boom, 3 black phones, 3 Mexican phones, 3 white phones, 3 other phones. Or just three black phones, 3 Mexican phones, and then 2 other phones. You see what I'm saying? But it's only 16 to 20 that's getting on all 3 of them phones. Or 12 to 20 rather. See what I'm saying? And sometimes that was a problem. Let a damn alone 80 niggas on 3 phones. And then some of them is Judite, some of them Benjamin, some of Ephraim. It's going to be all kind of problems. See what I'm saying? So y'all, okay, so they was doing politics by, you Cincinnati niggas on this phone, Cleveland niggas on this phone, Dayton niggas on this phone. Crazy.
A house phone. You can stay on that phone 8 hours.
And then on top of that, the New York phone is a free phone that you could just stay on. It ain't like the California phone. That's also interesting.
There was no time. So that phone, that horn, is what was the major drama. You know what I'm saying? So when you come into a house, first thing you want to do is let your family know where you at so you can get a visit. Now picture another man telling me I can't get on that phone. And he not using, he don't got a uniform on. He a regular inmate. You think I care what color he is? I'm going to get on that phone. My lights is about to get turned out. You think I'm worried about catching another case or catching something? You're going to let me on that phone.
Die in prison.
You're going to let me on that phone.
So now you got to do what you got to do just to get a phone call to your girl, to your mom, to your kids. Somebody's oppressing you. How are they oppressing? Because that's the question. They say they're getting oppressed. Well, how are they being oppressed? They're being oppressed through not being allowed on the phone. Right? Damn it, CYA, they had one phone for 15. Yeah, that's crazy. That is really crazy. Like our brother said, F jail, stay out of jail. Whatever you can do. Avoid jail.
That was the beef, was the phones.
Follow the laws of the land. Why? To avoid jail. And but keep the laws of God. And yes, follow the laws of the land. No big deal. To stay the hell out of jail.
The phone was the beef. The Jamaicans, it wasn't really the robbery thing. Jamaicans wasn't really on that robbery thing. They did whatever they did, but it wasn't. It was more the oppression of the phone and the domination. You couldn't get on that phone. They had the shit on smash. So that was really the beefs that started creating the beefs was the phone. That was the beefs with the Jamaicans.
Now picture you coming back from Rikers Island. You get up at 3 o'clock in the morning. They throw you in the bullpen. You spend hours there eating a bologna sandwich. You blow trial. Your lights done. And you coming back to the house. And you
understand, you blow trial, your lights are done. Meaning you lost your trial. You've been found guilty. You're being sentenced to a substantial amount of time in, a high security prison.
So your people, you're trying to make them.
So you're just trying to call your family and touch base with them because you're getting ready to, of a surety, do a substantial amount of time in prison and away from them.
To see what my lawyer's gonna do, let's prepare this appeal, come see me or anything. And you're not able to get on that phone? Ain't no man alive gonna tell me that I'm not able to get on that phone.
So it started with the phones.
Yes.
That was the biggest beef from Rikers Island in the 90s. This before, we talking about pre-Bloods.
So this is all before the Bloods even come out.
Okay,
Bloods didn't even exist at that time.
There was no Bloods at the time.
And if there was, it was probably 1 or 2 and it was from LA.
From LA. And they rocked with us because they was under the People Alliance.
Yeah.
Which they're going to talk about in a second too. The People Alliance. Keep these things in mind.
The People Alliance.
Okay.
What's that?
That's a coalition that was made out of Chicago with the peoples. The peoples, you got peoples and folks. You got People Nation, you got the Folk Nation. Everything that's under the 5-point star. Everything that's 5, pops 5.
5 alive, 6 more died, people's popping, disciples dropping.
Yeah.
So the Bloods was under that 5-point banner.
Which really they wasn't. They're not. But because T. Rogers took Stone to L.A., and started the damn, and got with the Blood, there was like that association because an actual People Alliance gang went to L.A. and got with the Bloods. So that's where kind of the loose association came, and it gets deeper later as the story progresses.
So wait. Because you guys talk fast. So because you good talkers, I gotta slow you down for me.
Mm-hmm.
Who came up with the People Alliance?
That's in Chicago. That's in the 70s.
It had nothing to do with New York.
That's got nothing to do with us.
So,
but they came here and we respected that.
You respected that?
Because it's in our lessons.
Absolutely.
100%.
So the people, and who did it consist of, though?
You had at the time Vice Lords, you had traveling Vice Lords, you had the El Rookins, you had, who else at the time? The Bloods, Peace Stones, Black Peace Stones.
Those are the peoples.
Black Panthers.
And then that's as far as for the 5.
Everything that pops 5.
And where does that terminology for the 5 come from? Right under the 5. What is that like? Is it anything special about it? It's a star.
It's just it's a star. It's a 5-point star.
What's the meaning of a 5-point star?
It's the crown. It's the crown that affiliates all of us together.
God.
It's a symbol. It's like it's an emblem, if you will, of these organizations.
Like the 6, everything they do is 3 and 6s.
We do everything.
Everything is a 5.
Got it. Wow. So now,
which is like T. Rogers took it from Chicago to L.A.
There's the connection, right?
And that's the Peace Stones, which later on became what they became, the Jungle, the different stones and everything, but originated in Chicago.
So y'all can understand where they had Training Day at, where you see Training Day, where the end scene is at, the Jungles. That's what T. Rod has established that there.
Understood.
And they're under the People's Alliance.
So let's fast forward a little bit. The phones going crazy. Jamaicans. Do you remember? Bring us to the day that King Blood came and said, "Yo, what were you doing? How did it come? Was it a kite set? How did that whole conversation happen?"
I was actually playing handball. We just came from commissary. Everybody's flossing, so they were watching me. I had at the time there were very few Dominicans at that time, and he said, "Shorty, you got a lot of heart." You know, the Latinos.
Getting robbed.
People were getting robbed. People were getting jumped. People were, you know, you come in with a chain. Back then, you could rock your jewelry. Back then,
I heard.
And dudes were getting snatched.
So basically, he was talking about when the Latinos was coming in, they was getting robbed. That's the oppression in that aspect. They was getting robbed, and you know they were becoming victimized because they were outnumbered. It had a lot to do with it.
We had expensive sneakers, you had expensive boots and stuff, and people were just taking it off of you. And, you know, we were heard. And I said, you know what, I'm with it, man. I'm with it. What we got to do?
And you witnessed the Latino
Absolutely.
being, and these were by the Jamaicans or the...
No, we were by the 5%.
That's the 5%.
The Jamaicans, we made that very clear.
You did.
Jamaicans wasn't on that.
They wasn't on that.
Now, he said that, yes.
They wasn't
pardon
on
me,
it.
pardon me.
Yeah.
You did make that clear. So the 5%ers were more like being...
But when we say 5%, I need you to understand what
Please
my
explain.
brother broke
So they're going to elaborate this even further.
down. You have the righteous 5% of that. They wasn't about that.
That teaches you. He did say that.
Teaching.
Yes.
They will build you up. You have the righteous brothers.
The
You know
renegade.
what? They had the poor righteous teachers. These brothers were on it. And you know they were about education. They were about black pride. They were about rising the people, and you know going against the man. But then you had these young kids that came under them, who you know it was back then. It was cool to have a moniker like knowledge, see Allah.
See, like he's saying, the 5% thing was like the fad at that time. So you had a lot of people that was 5%ers, but they wasn't really about that life of being a 5%er, being about edification and upliftment and things of that nature. They was just niggas who, you know, engaged and indulged in crime and, you know, criminal underbelly and really were kind of predatory upon their own people, right? But it was cool to be a 5%er, so they, you know what I mean, they had them names and they were, you know, perpetrating to be 5%ers, but in truth, you know, they were part of what the 5%ers would call the 85%.
Something like that. It was cool because of Rakim, you know, and so these young cats used to come, and they had that type of mentality, and they were the ones who started that stuff. And in our eyes, we categorized everybody as one because you're a part of that. If you're a part of that and you allow that to happen, then you got to get it too.
Which is a good point because basically, amongst your organization, if you got these little dudes that is getting out of line and is violating and you're not controlling them, then what are you? You're now complicit in it. You know, being quiet about it is being complicit, essentially.
And that's how we transform.
And he said the renegade.
The renegade 5%ers.
Okay, so you sit down.
We need to make that clear.
Make it clear. Yes. Please,
Okay.
Make it clear on camera.
Yes.
So
Because we don't want to categorize. You had these 5%ers that they were the epitome of true manhood.
understood.
Of what Malcolm X and these brothers who stood up to the system. They were the epitome of that. And we wanted to emulate that. But we didn't have enough fortitude.
See that? So again, when you let the narrative paint like it was a race thing, he just said we wanted to emulate how strong these brothers are. We admired these black brothers and we wanted to emulate them, but there was the underbelly of their organization that was robbing us and attacking us, so we had to formulate in response to that. Let the story be told, let the truth be told, and let's put everything in perspective. We've been wronging each other for far too long, and it's repentance and forgiveness and trudging forward and reconciliation. That's what needs to happen. Thus saith the Most High God. Then we'll all move forward as blacks, as Hispanics, as Native Americans.
Rise above our confusion to follow that. And then we saw these young cats coming in and trying to what was the word back then? Herb us. That was the word. They tried to herb us.
That was a Vic.
You know, it was a Vic, and you know we saw that.
They were trying to victimize them.
And if you couldn't correct that, then anybody associated with that, you getting it too.
So, okay. So, you witness that. You have a conversation. And King Blood.
Let me do another big up to Chief Ephraim. Y'all Shem Yahshua Barakatah.
We're going to be called Latin King.
Mm-hmm. He drew up a manifesto.
So he draws up a manifesto, right? Now this manifesto that he draws up to kind of charter the Latin Kings is loosely based off of what he recalled from what he learned in Chicago, but some of the stuff he just kind of filled in the blanks and put his own spin on it. That's what has to be understood. And remember, I'm saying this for a reason. They talked about the 5-point star and what the 5-point star symbolized, and what you're going to understand is when he draws up his manifesto, it have a New York spin on it, and it's not true to what was in Chicago.
Remember, he didn't get permission at that time.
Yeah.
So he freestyled the man. Can we say that?
He took what little bit he knew,
The little knowledge that he knew,
and added on to all of that.
Yeah.
Okay.
And these were the guidelines and bylaws that we had to adhere if you wanted to be a true king. And in that concept as well, you know, there was some Latino pride, man. You had black pride. So what was our pride at? Who were we? We were ghosts. We didn't know who we were.
And that's just like some of the this ties into Israel, because you got some Israelites and they're always talking about, you know, the Southern Kingdom and this and that, and that's good too. But the North, we don't need to neglect the North. They're great. They have greatness. They need to be talked about. They need to be extolled. We're all a part of this thing. Like love, peace, truth, honor, justice. See that? That's them 5 points. That's not the 5 points that King Blood comes with initially, and he's going to speak on it, right? And it's very interesting what King Blood's 5 points are.
And then he brought in the concept of Incas. And the Incas, if you do the history, they were warriors and Taínos, man.
Brothers from the tribe of Asher. Y'all go back to the Viva YASHARAHLA series, you see about the Incas.
Those are Native American?
Yeah. So they're actually, they're considered Native Americans. But the Incas and the Taínos, the Siboneyes, you know, these were warriors, man. And when that mentality was attached, we was like, what? I want that. I want to be a part of something. I want to be a part
Before the
of
Bloods,
that.
right?
This is way before,
the Bloods. Bloods didn't even exist through that, man. They were nowhere near around that. If you had, again, as I reiterate, if you had them, there was one or two, and they were from L.A.,
Right.
not from New York City.
No, so are you able to divulge or describe what was on the manifesto, or that's private?
You know that's private. You know that.
Just I try to tell my man to ask that. You know, I want him to ask that. I didn't want to look crazy, man. I didn't want to get shut down, man.
I'm gonna tell you 2 things that's part of it. I'm gonna tell you actually 3 things that's part of it. That's a common law. That's common knowledge. No extortion, no robbing, and no man-on-man action.
I mean, who could argue with that? Don't extort your brother, don't rob your brother, and don't be a homosexual. I mean, see how it's based around scripture? Y'all see that? It's showing you that we had a little bit of sense, right? We need that breath of life.
Rats.
And no rats.
Don't snitch to the white man. See that? Tremendous values, right?
So you just gave us 4.
They need about 600 more, though, but good value.
He gave you, I gave you 3, he gave you 1.
Can't eat cheese, man.
Can't eat cheese. No man-on-man action, buddy. And I'm saying it the politically correct way.
We have to, because
That's right. No man-on-man action.
Very much.
No robbery, no extortion.
There was no robbery, no extortion to whom?
To anyone.
Wow.
To anyone. Blacks, whites, it's out.
So who painted the imagery? Because, you know, what you're telling me...
Because you got predators. Let me tell you something. Jail is broken down into different individuals.
Predator.
You understand what I'm saying? Exactly.
And then also, you got to remember what happens is it can have righteous values, but eventually you're going to have niggas that come in there and they break the rules. Our people are rule breakers, serially. We know this because God did miracles and gave us rules as he showed us miracles, and we still broke the rules right after he showed us miracles. So our people are habitual rule breakers. So yes, very righteous rules and values were established, but as the organization blossomed, you had individuals rise up in the ranks that disregarded the rules, of course.
You got dudes that are predators. You got dudes that are real, whatever, gangsters. You got the fake gangsters. You got the regular dudes, and then you got the victims. Now it's all up to you which one you're gonna be. You understand what I'm saying? The predator's there to, you got kicks, you got boots, you getting drugs, you getting whatever. He on you. Now the real dude is just on him, whatever. You know what I'm saying? He just doing him.
Doing his big.
Then you got the dudes that sell the fake wolf tickets.
Sell gangsters.
They're talking, then when it's time to get busy, it's a whole different story.
But what confused me is that when you hear about the Latin Kings, with those principles, you guys wouldn't really be in any trouble because those are principles.
Why not? If you come and rob one of my brothers for their chain, what you think I'm gonna do?
No, of course. No, what I'm saying is that the imagery that was painted was that, you know, you
But
guys
they're
were
coming,
brothers.
you're talking to people that came in 93 and up.
So what's the point? 93 and up, meaning when they formulated this in 86, this was the foundation. This is what they were basing themselves off of. But over the course, after 7 years later, things get diluted. It's what happens. It's unfortunate.
I-93, that's when the Bloods formed the C-73. We're talking pre. You gotta understand the jail system at the time between 91, before 91, 92, 93, was predominantly Jamaican. The Latinos started getting picked up by the boatloads because of TNT. TNT used to come and raid a block and pick up 50 Puerto Ricans or 50 Dominicans, 50 whatever. The next day, they was calling Puerto Rico and bringing the people back out here to flood those blocks because they wasn't going to lose 100,000, 40,000, whatever they was making on those blocks. So now you got these dudes that don't speak a lick of English getting picked up, coming to prison, don't know how to say anything. So guess what's happening?
They're the victims.
They're the victims.
So now, Latin King started. Got the manifesto. Right? You saw. What happens next now? What happened next? Like,
They fought the first big war, which was in the summer. That's summer in Collins against, I think the first war was against the Muslims, right?
It was against the Muslims.
what happened?
Wait, before that, hold on, my fault. Before that, you know, with the Bloods, they said that, you know, the joining, they had to bring someone home. Like, how did you guys bring people home, so to speak, for Latin Kings? How did you get people to...
Now, pay attention to this, because this is when they're going to go into the 5 points that King Blood created that was different than what the Latin Kings from Chicago had.
And what was the initiation process? Or, you know?
It wasn't for everyone.
But no, it wasn't for everyone.
Because number one, they're Chicago-based gangs. So Chicago-based gangs do not have the put on or the initiation process like LA-based. You know, in LA-based gangs, you got to walk the line, you got to get jumped in, etc. Chicago don't do that. They don't beat people up to gain membership into the gang.
I'm sorry. Remember what the warden said that? The warden said that from his belief that all you had to do was be Latino to join the Latin Kings. They didn't really require.
Who said that?
Bailey said that? Bailey.
Yeah. I want to ask them personally.
But that's not necessarily true because we had the 5 Caribbean islands. You could be Jamaican and be Latin King.
You hear that? You could be Jamaican and be a Latin King.
Jamaican Latin Kings. Haitian Latin.
You got Haitian Latin Kings. Because quite as kept, technically Haitians are Latin. Because we speak a Latin language. We have a Latin culture.
That's right.
So it was the Caribbean islands.
It was the Caribbean islands. Watch this.
Getting that. See, y'all don't know that. You could Google the lessons. I'm not going to break down the lesson. I'm pretty sure you Google them, you'll find it, and you're going to see the 5-point star. And in that 5-point star,
you see that? You'll see the 5-point star. And in that 5-point star, what are you going to have?
Haiti and Jamaica and the Caribbean
Haiti and Jamaica, Caribbean islands, all that. That's what their 5-point star was. So that's what King Blood cultivated, a 5-point star that featured the Caribbean islands. Why? Because this plays into the New York politics. Because the predominant Latino and basically non-African American population is Caribbean islands, be it Puerto Rican, be it Dominican, be it Haitian, be it Jamaican. See what I'm saying? So he created that 5. That's similar to how when the 12 tribes talk come along, you see Mexicans at the bottom, which brothers from the tribe of Issachar. It's never no disrespect, but Mexicans at that time in New York represented the smallest demographic amongst Latinos, so they put them at the bottom. As you'll see Simeon and Ephraim and them at the top. See what I'm saying? So the 5-point star and crown that they represented 5 Caribbean islands, because that's who they were looking to get membership. See what I'm saying? That's cold when you think about it. It's crazy. They neglected Mexico and South America and things like that. Why? It's very simple. Because that wasn't who was in New York. Who was in New York? Brothers from the islands. Puerto Ricans, Cubans, Dominicans. See what I'm saying? So very interesting when you think about that.
Islands on there. Besides Santo Domingo, Cuba, and Puerto Rico. That was the original foundation.
Santo Domingo, which is Dominican Republic, Cuba, Puerto Rico, Haiti, Jamaica. That's the 5 points for them in New York. Very interesting information. Hope y'all follow.
The 5-point star in New York State. You had to be not from out here.
Basically, they're having issues with the Judites. Long as you're not a Judite, you can get down. All the other tribes, come get down. Because they felt oppressed by Judah.
You could be black Jamaican, you could be black Haitian, you could be black Cuban, Panamanian. It wasn't like that.
You had to come under that 5-fold banner.
You had to come under that banner.
That's it though. It was no.
That's it.
There was no process. Cause with them they were saying you got to get food and you had to, you know what I'm saying?
Listen, people gonna say whatever they want to say.
No, I'm saying that's for.
But I'm saying they have certain things. I can't speak for the Bloods. They did what they did.
They did what they did, but as for us, you had to be thorough. You had to put in
you couldn't
that
just come in.
And you just can't just come in and get crowned. We would observe you.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
How you conduct yourself, how you act.
And remember, this is the early days. Nowadays, with any gang, it's not difficult to gain membership. I mean, that's how watered down it is really become.
Yourself.
And then we would approach it just like they approached me. You know, I was neutral. I wasn't, with no gangs. I was just graffiti kid. I was down with this crew called CYA, Crazy Young Artists, out from Queens.
And I was beefing with his crew.
He was that, but he was TA7. He was from Woodside. And my moniker was Meek, M-E-E-K. Everybody knows me with that name. I was just a graffiti kid, man. And when I came in, I wasn't having that. I'm from Brooklyn. You're not gonna take my stuff, and if you're gonna take it, you're gonna get hurt. They saw that, and they approached me, and that's how we began recruiting individuals. But we wasn't hungry or thirsty to bring everybody, and it wasn't about numbers with us. Anyone who was thorough, who was real, who's listening to this podcast, will tell you that when we began, we were few. We started out with 10. We were what? And see, in the 3 building, we were what? 20. We were few, man. We wasn't a whole bunch. And then later on, after 93, 94...
93, 94 is when it took
They started coming in.
It took off, yeah, it took off.
It took off.
Tell us about the big war. You said that there was a big war. What was the first war that you guys fought?
We had a very big war with the Muslims.
On where? Rikers?
No, in Collins. Collins Correctional Facility.
What year was this?
This is 1986.
86. Tell us what happened. You can. You look like you want to be. I know, Pastor, you cool, but what happened, Pastor? You can.
It was a war.
It was a war.
It was a war.
It was too much there.
It was too much. We went at it. We went at it in the yard, and things happened.
People got hurt.
Yeah, badly. And we moved on from that, and that statement right there. That was the point of departure for the Latins, because we let people know we're not playing that. They wasn't having it.
They moved everybody that was there to different penitentiaries, and then they just kept going with it.
Oh, so we had a big war. People got hurt, sent the message, and
we were lions or snakes, or sheep. And wherever we stood, we helped.
Start. Not saying you should know, but what did you guys witness? Did you witness? You must have
happened in C-73.
Watch this.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
How, in your opinion, how did the blood start? Not saying you should know, but what did you guys witness? Did you witness? You must have
happened in C-73.
So our brother right here, in the gray shirt, he was there when the blood started. So you have interviews that he did with the blood, some of the first bloods, but none of these brothers were a part of the actual event when it first started. None of them were in C-73 for it. So this is what we got to pay attention to. And this is the point of the title of this video. So as we can see here is this one. Y'all can check this out. Is it episode 99? Yeah, episode 99. It's 2 parts. Where's the other part to this? Where's the other part to this? This one. What the hell is the other part? He had this in 2 damn parts. Maybe he might have took it down. Well, yeah, so, I mean, you could watch this one, and it's another part, though. It's a whole other part. But, yeah, but none of these brothers was actually there in C-73 in July 93. He was there. So, you know, he's an eyewitness. You know, so that, you know, increases his credibility as far as his testimony to him being there. So, let's see what happened.
And you said July.
Everybody knows that.
Yeah, but you gotta understand, OG Mac was there. You had OG Mac, you had Deadeye there, Majesty. There was a couple of Bloods there. And they came and sat down at the table with Blaze and a couple of...
So they actually sat down, because it's said that they formulated in response to the Latin Kings, but their formulation is them actually sitting at the table with the Latin Kings. Let's keep going.
Individuals that were holding titles, rest in peace, Blaze. I'm not gonna name anybody else, but there was a couple individuals there, and it was worked out that since a lot of brothers couldn't become kings.
Why? Because they didn't have a problem with black members joining, but it was American black members that they were not allowing to join.
They were gonna start the Bloods, and we were gonna send them the brothers that wanted to become kings to hold them down.
Basically, they were going to start the Bloods, and then they were going to even lend manpower to the Bloods. So they're not starting on an initial beef, or the Bloods is not starting in response to the Latin Kings. The Latin Kings are actually offering manpower to the Bloods for them to start. This is interesting. Let's keep going.
Be people under the People Alliance.
And they were going to bring them under the People Alliance. So this is why you have Bloods in New York talking this 5-point star stuff, talking this People Alliance stuff. 5 was popping 5, such and such 5, all that 5, 5, 5, 5. Why? That's the question, because the ones in LA do not talk about that. But here's the reason why. Now it all makes sense, because they sat down at the table with the Latin Kings and they intended to join the People Nation Alliance with the Latin Kings and be in allegiance with the Latin Kings. Even though they both is under the, and to this day, under the 5, but even if they have issues. Much like in Chicago, you got individuals that's under the 5, but they'll go to war with each other. This thing is, but now, I praise the Most High for this, because this would bring so much clarity, because it's always been confusing to us from the West Coast as to what how and where do the 5-point star come in for them dudes in New York, the New York Bloods. Now it all makes perfect and total sense, though, because this meeting happened where they sat down with the Latin Kings to become a part of what the Latin Kings were already a part of. Very interesting. But this is how you have to know that this brings even more credibility to what our brother is saying, because it's like, wait a minute, nothing else makes sense as to why they represent that.
With this was in '93.
And if you watch the King, I think it might be the King Tone, either King Tone or King Blood documentary they had on HBO. He was going out of his way to try to bring the Bloods and the Latin Kings together. If y'all remember, I believe that was on HBO. I think it was King Tone.
As time goes on, they start growing. Now,
the Bloods start growing.
There's a third entity that we're not talking about, which is the Nietas.
Which a lot of people don't know about. Nieta is a Puerto Rican prison gang.
Right.
Okay, you know what I mean? And
they accepted anybody.
Anybody, man on man action. Anybody.
No rules.
They're for the prisoners.
Growing.
They're about the prisoners.
Yeah, they're very political.
They're political. They accepted anybody. Now.
But it's crazy when you think about it, because, matter of fact, it's crazy, man. This was unfortunate when things get watered down over the process of time, man. It's highly unfortunate.
group of BGFs, two folks, two Tracy, and they ended up disciplining them BGFs who hit me. Because they said they was in the wrong.
You get part of that.
My introduction, I told myself I ain't gonna be part of nobody's paperwork. I'm counting for crip until I die. When I went back to Chino, when I caught my new case, I went back to Chino, and we had an incident. First came to Folsom. What you had in Folsom when I got off that bus, it was UBN. It was a machine, United Blood Nation. Peabody had a machine going. I said, Heron, I speak passion about Heron, because Heron was Vanguard, and that's my nigga. Right. But, see, I had no issues. It was just, I saw a machine, and I'm seeing a group of bloods, a group of brothers running their shit. And I just love hitting motherfuckers.
So look, that
But on that yard, I didn't go there.
It's a key point as to what he's gonna say. So like, I'm trying to find it.
So I said, I'm gonna go hit this nigga. So I put him on one unit in Tracy, West Hall. We talking about
Hold
3 or
on,
4.
it might be part 2. Hold on. Let me look for it. Bear with me, y'all. Bear with me.
The blocks running that way. Well, I ran in the middle of the whites and Mexicans. Yeah, you first from youth authority or first doing time for the NJ wing and say charge. When he said charge, ain't black. And that's all I saw. They had life in prison back in 76, 77, I think. They said, look, little homie, we heard about you, you're a good little dude, but we vanguards. I sent him back, what you mean vanguards? At that time, like I said, it wasn't but 100 Crips in prison, state prison at that time. From my understanding, the BGF started a frontline car called the Vanguards, which consists of Crips and Bloods. Crips and Bloods, Crips and Pyrus. They was the frontliners. But they eventually didn't like the BGFs at the end. But they were frontliners. Ajax them sent word to me, hey, look, homie, we can't fuck with you. We know you're at war with the whites and Mexicans. You know, we can't do anything. We on the oath. But if you need us, we'll help you. I said, no, y'all up on the paperwork, homie. I got this. So I go to the yard. It's me, probably another homeboy.
So he's talking about, there's a key point I'm looking for. I'm gonna try to find it. Forgive me, y'all, but the point is, he's talking about the Black Guerrilla family, and the Black Guerrilla family started something called the Vanguards, and then the Vanguards start beefing with the Black Guerrilla family. But the Black Guerrilla family was created to have order and structure and bring rules and regulations to the black population amongst prison. But what happens? It got watered down. They start going against it. But there's a part he's going to talk about the rules of the BGF was you can't have a white woman, and these dudes was dealing with white women. Rules of the BGF, you can't use drugs. These dudes was dealing drugs. You see what I'm saying? So it's an unfortunate thing, but over the process of time, wicked customs grow strong. Matter of fact, let's get that in the Bible, because I'm speaking biblical language. Let me get that in Wisdom of Solomon real quick. You got it? Oh, Salakia, go ahead.
Wisdom of Solomon 4:12. For the bewitching of naughtiness doth obscure things that are honest, and the wandering of concupiscence doth undermine the simple minds.
No, that's not what I'm looking for. I'm looking for Wisdom of Solomon 14. I'm not looking for. I'm an evil custom, an ungodly custom. Over the course of time, because that's what happens. Over the course of time, you know, things get watered down. Now people is up into all of this evil, man. Go ahead.
Wisdom of Solomon 14:16. Thus, in process of time, an ungodly custom grown strong was kept as a law.
See that? An ungodly custom rather grows strong. See what I'm saying? Like the brother said, brothers' minds get polluted. They start getting drunk with power. Wrong people get into power. And organizations who had righteous beginnings start to be corrupted. And it's unfortunate. Okay, Vanguard is the BGF with 13 is the Mafia. Okay, that's interesting. So that's the frontline soldiers, the street soldiers. Okay, makes sense.
There's rest BGFs on the yard. Tracy Yard was built unique. At one point in Tracy, A white dude I saw stabbed and threw a homeboy over the chair. I saw him. I said, oh, I got to have him. So I went to the BGF looking, man. That white boy just came on the yard. I got to have him. We're on a peace treaty, brother. We got a truce. I said, look, y'all got a truce. I don't. I'm a Crip. I'm from Compton, Crip. Right?
So he's going against it naturally because he's saying y'all niggas just let a white boy murder a brother and y'all don't want to do anything about it. And y'all talking about y'all at peace with this devil. I'm not doing it.
I ain't going for that bullshit right there. Like we said, brother. So I sent word to the Northern Mexicans, who was my friends.
See that he was down with the Nortes. See, people forget about the Norteños, who is also Mexican, but is cool with Judah in the prison.
Familiar. I sent word to them. I said, look at homie, I need a kisu. I need a knife. Kisu means knife. That's why I need a knife. So they sent me through a handball. They said I'll throw a handball over the handball court. When I'm on the handball side, it was a razor blade in it for me. So the white dude went to the drinking fountain. I stood by the drinking fountain with him and chiced him up. And got away. Went back to where the brothers at. They looking at me and shit. I'm not thinking of it. Then 2 yards later, I come to the yard, I'm playing dominoes. And I felt something penetrate the back of my neck. The BJF put a move on me for breaking a peace treaty.
See that? These black men try to kill this brother because he retaliated for a white man murdering a black man. That's crazy, but that's how things get watered down. It have that, but see, everything is going to be like that except its truth. Everything that we do, every garment that we try to knit to cover us is going to fail outside of the laws in Yahushua. What you got? Go ahead. Yeah, get that, please.
Judges 15:9. Then the Philistines went up and pitched in Judah, and spread themselves in Lehi. And the men of Judah said...
And the men of who?
Judah said...
And the men of Judah said what?
Why are you come up against us?
Why are you come up against us, Reed?
And they answered, to bind Samson are we come up.
See that? They come to bind Samson. Why are they binding Samson? Because they want to go give Samson to the Canaanites. So this is Judah M.O., unfortunately. And this is why we all messed up. Judah, y'all got to step up as the leaders, man. And not do things like that. Go ahead.
To do to him as he had done to us. Then 3,000 men of Judah went to the top of the rock Etam and said to Samson, knowest thou not that the Philistines are rulers over us?
Man, they running us right now. You can't go messing with them. I'm going to tell y'all a story, right? Is Deacon in here? Where's Deacon? Deacon, where you at, man? Deacon, I need you to be a witness to this story I'm getting ready to tell. From a nice... a little haunt we used to have in North Hollywood. Where's the deacon? Deacon Hakar. Okay, so Deacon, you remember we had that situation with the Khazars, with the Amalekites, the Jewish individuals, right? Remember Levi told us, man, it's all good. I can't stand these crackers, right? But the next time we came in there, the Judite who was head of security said, man, y'all can't be messing with them Jewish people, man. Deacon, tell me I'm lying, so I don't go into too much detail, about the incident. There you go. You remember, brother. You see what I'm saying? So, it's cold. You got Judites that got that spirit on them. And it's been happening since the ancient times. But that ain't all Judah. You got your Nat Turners out there, man. All right, I know I'll be getting on Judah sometime. But damn it, you damn sure got your Nat Turners out there. All right? And them Nat Turner, bro, they coming up in this school, this car. I'm going to tell you that. All right? And they raising up in other camps as well through the Spirit of the Most High. But go ahead. That's right. Sureño or Norteño, you still an Israelito, brother. Go ahead.
It says, knowest thou not that the Philistines are rulers over us? What is this that thou hast done unto us? And he said unto them, as they did unto me, so have I done unto them.
I'm just doing, they killed the brother.
Yeah.
I want to go and get at them.
Yeah.
See what I'm saying? That's all. So he's brother crazy mistake. You know, you call him crazy Mr. Rockhead. He's in the right spirit. Go ahead.
I'm messing.
God. Well, yeah, I just want to hit that. There's some other points, but you know, I don't want to just find. I want to get back to this. We'll be here all night.
How everything really started, the war, was over Nieta. Juggled a pack of cigarettes to a blood. Every day he kept pressing him. Yo, you got me on commissary, right? You got me on commissary, right? You got me on commissary. Every day. The blood dude got annoyed. Commissary day came. Told him, you dead, son. You dead. Fuck out of here. You dead. Nieta goes to a king, tells him, yo, he robbed me.
Which, as we said earlier, the kings were what? Had a zero tolerance policy on robbing people, and the predominant reason that they formed was to keep Latinos from getting robbed. So now you come and tell me that you're a Latino and you were robbed, where that the Latin kings are acting as that line of defense. This is what starts it all. A pack of death. Watch.
King goes over there, yo, you can't be robbing no, What? I ain't robbing today. The Nieta, shit pops off. The war starts behind that.
See that? A pack of death perpetuated how much more death? Something that we have no business doing, which is smoking a goddamn cigarette, started a bloody and violent historic war between the leader of the black and the leader of the Latino, behind the tribe of Judah and the tribe of Ephraim, who should be coming together and uniting as a nation and understanding that we are the Israelites that the Bible speaks about. But 20 goddamn cancer sticks started this. Wow. All I gotta say to that is, wow. And Deacon, you're right. You're exactly right. He's the one to blame. El hombre, el blanco, el maldito diablo. See what I'm saying? It's him. Because who got us hooked on cigarettes in the damn first place? Who invented the cigarette? Who had us working tobacco plantations? El hombre, el blanco. The oppressor. See what I'm saying? And they'll elaborate further on the further role that was played by Esau.
That's a fact.
Anybody who's thorough.
Anybody that's real that was there will tell you the truth.
Man.
That's how the war started. Wasn't all
Anybody that was there. That's the point. That was there. Not a dude that came along a year later. He talking about the guys that was there.
They were cool with us.
So, okay. So, OG Mac, Blaze, we never named the rest of the people. You know.
I mean, there was a couple of Bloods. Edward was there. So many people there.
They sat down
at a table. Yeah, they sat down in the yard in the 3 building, and they came to the understanding that they were going to start the Bloods there.
Got it. So basically, was it getting permission? Why did they need to sit down?
I don't want to say it's permission because that sounds like somebody's over somebody. It was an agreement. You understand? Not to cause conflict.
Respect.
I'm gonna go in that direction because it wasn't like anybody was trumping anybody.
No, back
we
then
was
in
about
the day,
uplifting.
That's right. Back then in the days, if there was a beef between 2 rival gangs, whoever the beef was, we would allow you to handle it. Give him a gun, handle your business, nobody gets involved. And that's how the beef was handled.
But this is in the 3 building. You gotta understand, this is the 3 building. Was spread out to other places and other, I can't speak.
Now, what began to happen later, he's saying he can't speak for it, but the same thing that happens with everything. As it goes on later, things get corrupted, people start violating rules and regulations, the game gets watered down, and it turns into anarchy.
About what was going on in C95 and somebody felt oppressed because you go there, it was San Juan. It was like 70% Spanish because that was the only building that gave out methadone.
And everybody was going there. Everybody, the majority of
Everybody
brothers
was
that
going
hooked
there.
up on that,
So
on
if
that
you
dope,
there,
these
obviously you're gonna feel,
yeah.
yo, what's up with all this? You know what I mean? So a lot of beefs that people say was over drugs.
So the other beefs that wasn't over the phone or wasn't over a pack of cigarettes was because these niggas was getting high. Something else they ain't have no business doing. But who introduced us to the cigarettes? Who introduced us to the dope? The same person who put 80 niggas on 3 phones. So like my powerful deacon said, blame El Hombre Blanco. See?
Drugs and cigarettes.
Spanish people was getting them. And a lot of people was using them and not paying. So you know what happens when you don't pay, right?
You getting poked.
So the drug story is true.
What drug story?
No, I'm just saying that a lot of people.
Yes, 100%. That happens to this day. To this day, up north, wherever you go, people be like, yo, I got you on commissary every day. I got you. My people's going to send you this. Yo, hit me off. And then take the bag and then
It's time to pay.
And that's cold. You know, I witnessed certain things of that nature during my time, my short time, thank the Most High, being incarcerated. But individuals knew they had to pay up, so they paid up. Because, you know, they didn't want a war. But, you know, something like that easily could turn into a volatile situation. Especially in the hypersensitive climate that is jail.
So the beef started over a pack of cigarettes, and the Yeta started that.
That's a fact.
But why would? How can if
because we're supposed to stand up for our people. So the king went over there. Remember, he told him that he got robbed. He told the king that he got robbed. So the king went over there to hold him down. Bam, bam. That's a fact.
holding the Yeta down?
That's a fact. Because it was Spanish.
And it caused the rift.
It caused the war. It caused the war. It caused the war. That pack of cigarettes exploded.
And again, the other reason the pack of cigarettes exploded is because the laws of God are not being followed. Not just because, of course, we're not supposed to smoke a goddamn cigarette. Right? That's number one. That whole situation could have been avoided. But there's a law. I'm going to play a little bit more of this, but there's a key law that if we would have understood and we would have followed, would have alleviated this whole situation.
Everybody, they moved us from the 3 building. I went back to Queen's house.
See, he was in the 3. You know what? He was there. He's an eyewitness to all of this. He didn't come a year later, 2 years later, and hear this from this guy who heard it from this guy and this guy and this guy. No, the brother was there, which makes him authoritative on this happening, right?
Who that went to HDM, to the Beacon, Bloods that went all over the place, and now that war started spreading throughout.
Then it just was everywhere because it happened in where it all started at, where the blood started, where all the bloods was at. It happened. So then as the blood spread and the influence spread, it was get them Latin King niggas, right? And then, you know, the Latin Kings also was, you know, get them blood niggas, get them sangres. See? So it happened like that. But, let me keep going.
Mind you, there's still beef with the 5%ers. You got a lot. You think the 5%ers disappeared? What did they become? Bloods.
Then, like he said, they already had an ongoing beef with the 5%ers, and a lot for 5%ers turned blood. Who remembers what Nori said? Yeah, niggas going God body, but they come home blood. So a lot of niggas that was God body or 5% was turning blood. So that also added fuel to the fire.
So a lot of people that had personal beefs and personal issues just moved into the next vehicle that was moving. And at the time, we was moving in one direction, and the blood started moving. But then y'all forgetting the Jamaicans are still involved in this. So now the beef is still going on between the Jamaicans and the 5%ers, the Bloods. That's the war.
So
when did the truth come out though? Like you obviously know what happened, why it started.
The truth Because it was already too late. There was already bloodshed. It doesn't matter.
Right.
It's already done. Yo, you
It's
hit
a wildfire.
that's it.
Spread like wildfire.
It didn't matter no more. It didn't matter. It got to the point it didn't matter.
See that it got to the point it didn't matter. And the fact that they let it get to the point where it didn't matter, that's the problem. If they feel like somebody did something wrong and somebody killed somebody when they weren't supposed to, because mind you, let's say the brother robbed him. There's law, statutes, commandments that teach you how to take care of a robbery, how to restore. You restore it plus the fifth part. So the monetary value of what he was lent plus 20 extra % is what could have been repaid back. Instead, it was a retaliation of bloodshed. So there's a way to do that, right? Numbers 35, right? And it says 35. And 16, it says, and if he smite him with an instrument of iron, right, which is what, the razors that they have, so that he die, he is a murderer. The murderer shall surely be put to death. Him. Oh, he killed your man, or he injured your man. You killed or injured him in a response, and then that's it. It's dead. See what I'm saying? But our people don't know how to let anything die. Don't know forgiveness, don't know reconciliation, which is why Yahweh Shah was trying to emphasize to this so much. But we'll forgive and we'll reconcile with all our other oppressors. But if it's amongst each other, we'll go to a bloody war until the bloody end and refuse to keep righteousness. And if he smite him with the throwing stone, I'm going to get to the point. The revenger of blood himself shall slay the murderer. When he meeteth him, he shall slay him. It should be one person that is assigned to do the revenging, and he revengeth him, and that's it. Instead, we want to just go back and forth into infinity, and that's where we are now. But if we would have just followed the law, this situation could have been dead. You would have just followed the law, there wouldn't have been no pack of cigarettes to beef over in the first place. That's why it is imperative that blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians come back to who we are as Israelites. And what we inherited as a heritage from God through Moses was the laws. And we inherited faith in Yahweh Shai that Moses prophesied in the law, who you call Christ Yahweh Shai. And that's what we need to come back to. That's the only solution, period. Period. And all praise Yahweh B'Shem Shai that there is a solution. It's right here in the Bible. It's collecting dust. You need to come back to it, man.
Because it already popped off. You already touched one of mine. There's no, oh, here, go hit. Nah, I'm not going to hit my man. Fuck that. I'm going to hit you. And that's how it just, but don't think that everybody was on some racial. I was in a lot of blood houses. I was with shot calls in 5 North in the towers. We didn't have no issues. What they try to do to us in Suffolk Supreme? We going to trial. Then I was going to trial. They kept trying to, the COs was the ones doing all the bullshit.
In the bullpen.
So the COs were trying to create situations. They showed this in Menace to Society. Remember Menace to Society, police beat the hell out of Kane and dropped him off in a Mexican neighborhood thinking the Mexicans were going to kill him? They also would drop guys off in the enemy neighborhoods. This happened. Police all around is dirty as hell, man. Watch this. For it. But if you look in the LA hood to hood, the Rolling Hunters hood to hood, they talk about it.
Get the fuck out of here. Bailey was talking on, he was talking out of his elbows. Yeah. He know what he was doing. A lot of them was doing that. And it was the police that was instigating. Yo, Poppy that's over there. Yo, son, he hit one of your peoples over here. Oh, what? I got you. A lot of police was instigating.
A lot of people were mad at what Big.
See that? A lot of police was instigating.
Because he was saying the politically correct thing. I don't expect him to tell on himself.
You know,
he's police.
He police.
He police. But imagine this, right? And I'm gonna tell you this as an inmate or a prisoner, however you want to call it. All right. I'm sitting down. I'm sitting down at the chair, right? And I'm getting visit, right? And how my girl come to visit me? And you got these COs trying to kick it to my girl, or you got the COs. Oh, yo, this other girl was here visiting him. He was doing bullshit, trying to kick it to your visitors, trying to do bullshit, trying to violate you, going through your pictures. Oh, look at this bitch. Would you fuck that bitch? Look at that. Oh shit. And you getting searched like this. You getting searched. You butt naked in your drawers. All them there with the riot gear searching. You think you gonna say something? If you do, you getting beat. I saw the interview you did with you didn't do it, but Mel Cross touched on it. He did like a little thing. And he was 100% about Bailey. Straight cheese. You know there was a rumor that Bailey was blood?
Yeah, that's what you were saying.
He didn't bail out no Latinos out the Bay. Why? Because he wasn't allowed to talk to the police without another brother present. So he didn't give us no rhythm.
See that? And that's another good law that they had enacted. You couldn't talk to the police if you hadn't have nobody else. Well, Ariel, you're right. The COs still to this day predominantly on Rikers Island are black and Hispanic. But when a black or Hispanic puts that badge on, who has he given his allegiance to? He's given his allegiance to the white man. That's who he wants to be. That's where this whole blue lives concept comes into. I'll show you, matter of fact, let me show y'all something, right? Watch this. I've showed it before. Watch this.
Baca is currently in federal prison along with his undersheriff Paul Tanaka because the FBI came to the there's the racism, and then there's when you're wearing the blue uniform and they're making tattoos on them, and if they had shot American motorists under suspicious circumstances, the federal judge found that there was a gang called the Linwood Vikings that had, the gang members all had Viking tattoos on them, and if they had shot somebody, they got to have 998 tattooed in the Viking, which is LA, I guess, police scanner code for officer-involved shooting. Aryan or neo-Nazi overtones.
So this police gang had neo-Nazi overtones. Neo-Nazi overtones, but watch this.
Though Paul Tanaka was in it, he's Japanese, and I saw one picture, it looked like there was a black cop.
You got black, Hispanic, and Asian cops in a police gang that has white supremacist overtones. So that just shows when these guys put on these uniforms and these badges, no matter what they are pledging their allegiance and believe in their mind that they're white. Crazy, right? Or at least they think they are, until you're a Somalian that shoots a white girl and you don't get off like the killers of blacks and Hispanics get off. You lose your job and you go to prison. Then you understand you can show out for that white man all you want. When it comes down to it, you're still not going to be accepted.
We even talk to them.
So it's different.
See, but that's again a beautiful thing. They was having it to where you couldn't even have a conversation with a cop without a brother being present. Because the police would lie about what the content of your conversation was. Or try to get you to snitch, things of that nature. So that's a great thing. But I mean, that's pretty much it on that. You don't go on. So yeah, y'all can check it out. Check out the other videos. I suggest it. See y'all tomorrow with Situation Room, Most High Willing. With that, again, we're going to give all praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh, by Hashem Yahweh Shai, and say Shalom.